Hello folks, Dixie Dude back here, and today I am back with railfanning in Auburndale and Lakeland, catching CSX and Amtrak trains in action. First up is locomotive 6523 going to bed as always, after finishing the local runs to Winter Haven. As it turns out, this locomotive takes the local that's heading to Winter Haven or further south or wherever it's going to, but after it is done with that duty, it heads over to that side track right there on the Auburndale subdivision right there, where it sleeps during the rest of the day and night. But anyways, next up is Amtrak number 97 with 318 and 193. Next up is Amtrak 40 with number 374 and 192 leading. Now this is not the 192 at Dollywood, as you can see. It's the 192 that's numbered on one of the Amtrak locomotives. And I would actually catch this train later at Lakeland after driving back to see more CSX trains, as I unfortunately didn't see that many up in Auburndale other than 6523. But I hope to catch CSX trains in action at Lakeland as soon as I head back there. As soon as I headed to Lakeland, there was unfortunately a CSX train that was blocking my way. This train was actually backing in somewhere, which turned out to be, I believe, L766, which had so many coal cars from what I've seen, and 2 reefer box cars from the CRYO system. And number 408 is actually leading this train backing up somewhere where I don't know. Probably L766 or another train. But at first, I thought it was CO40 or CO41. As it turned out, it was actually a local, as it was actually going very slow and heading north somewhere where I don't have a clue to. But now that I know that this is actually a local, this was absolutely ridiculous. But next up was Amtrak 41, which I unfortunately had missed because of the CSX train that was blocking my way. I was stuck in traffic and I couldn't go anywhere else. Otherwise, I would have probably crashed somewhere. But when it comes to railfanning, safety always comes first when it comes to mind about that. But anyways, after the train had finally cleared, I made my way to downtown Lakeland to try to chase the 41, but sadly he was gone. So instead, I ended up catching 40 again with the same consist, and hopefully, sooner or later, I would see the 41 that was for today. Now, as you can see from these gates, that tells me that there's another train coming. And as a matter of fact, there was, as a CSX manifest train M453 has obviously passed through. But this particular train made me feel a bit better, as Heritage Unit number 1827, the Baltimore and Ohio, was leading consist with 999 and 2056 trailing. This has actually been like not too long ago, maybe a few weeks ago, if I remember correctly, that I actually caught this Heritage Unit one time on M603. If you want to check out the video, I'll be sure to leave the video name in the comments below. that, you would think that would be the last train. Not quite. I actually got a couple more trains coming. And I had a train in mind that was actually running at nighttime. Amtrak 41 with 312 and 369. Later, extremely late at nighttime. And as you can see here, somebody was bound to knock that green signal down. And that was him for sure. I verified that he was coming by using the asmtransitdocs.com website, which is a website that actually tracks Amtrak as well as Via Rail Canada as well. Although I've never seen that before because I am not Canadian, or rather American. But anyways, as you can see here, that's the headlight, and here he comes. And with that, I'm on my way to catch M603 just as he snuck up to me while I was checking the signals, and it appeared that he was actually coming unexpectedly. But anyways, leading this train with locomotives 7132 and 871. And just like that, he has made his first stop. And also mentioning here, his one and only stop before his train nearly ended. As it turns out, M603 actually stops at this crossing to sort some cars into yards, which is just further south of this point. And after he's finished sorting, he carries on and at least trying to get out of the way for some traffic. But after this train has ended, after it starts moving immediately, some people were just impatient and started to move fast. You'll see after this crossing gates go up, after this train passes. As you can see, folks, impatience has occurred at this crossing. And this is exactly what happens when you film a train here. But anyways, after this train, I headed back to the Lakeland Y to catch L729 with locomotives 4589 and 7083 leading. After that train passed, I headed to downtown Lakeland to catch L766 with 408 leading. Sadly though, there was no caboose, as there commonly is. Now as always, if you enjoyed the video folks, please click the like button down below, tell me about your thoughts in the comment section below, subscribe for more videos, and turn on notifications so you don't miss upcoming videos. Well, folks, that's going to wrap up my railfanning adventures in Lakeland and Auburndale today. Now, thank you for watching, folks. This is Dixie Dude, signing off.